XRP emergency update. There was a pattern earlier this week that indicates that XRP's upside should be limited, and we're probably going to see a reversal, and the price may even break 40 cents on the downside. And today I'm going to share with you exactly why. So if you like today's content, give me a thumbs up. Let's dive straight into XRP. So I'm looking at an updated chart of XRP on an hourly time frame, and I know I have a lot of information on the chart, but there's one particular point I want you to really focus on, and it's this part over here and over here. This is something called a wave overlap, and when this occurs, it indicates weakness, and we're going to look into this in a bit more depth. So what we're going to do right now, because if you can understand this, it will just blow your mind the way you can see and view the markets. I'm going to take the data back to this point over here. I'm going to hide everything so we can see this. By the way, what I'm going to cover with you, if you want to make money from the markets, you want to take my 4 secrets trading masterclass, how to make money from the markets and trading the markets. The 4 must knows, really important, really powerful. The link is in the description below. It's absolutely free. And one of the things that we cover in the 4 secrets is pattern position. What you want to realize is the markets are driven by fear and greed. And the pattern positions represent crowd psychology, which is relatively predictable in advance. So we actually made quite a lot of money from XRP going long, as in going long around here and to this point over here. So it was a good trade. And what we were anticipating was actually the market to do what looked like a 1-2, an explosive 3, some type of pullback, and then some type of continuation to top out over here. That's what I was anticipating. However, the market over here has seemed to go into a deep correction. That's what we're going to look into and what that reflects. Because if the market goes into this trading zone over here without making a 5-wave structure, and it goes into this trading zone over here, this shows weakness. So I was on high alert for this particular pattern position. So let's just unfold the data. So I'm just going to unfold the data bar by bar. Over here at this point, let me zoom in a bit so you can see it a bit clearer. Let me zoom in right away onto this part of the market. Just want to show you here. At this point, it's looking like a textbook 5-wave structure to the upside. So the long trade is looking really healthy. A nice wave up, down, very bullish on the way up, made some really good profits, and A, B, C on the way down, and more often than not, you'll see a continuation to the upside. And that's what I was anticipating. However, I did exit some of my trade over here to lock in some early profits. What I don't want to see happen, and if I do see it happen, I want to be out of the market, is an overlap. If the market goes into this range, because this is called an overlap and is a sign of weakness, and we want to be aware of that. So now let's just unfold the data and see what happened over the coming hours. And just so we're clear, this is September 30th we're talking about. And the data is unfolding. Still at this stage is looking good. Like, nothing to really be concerned about. But then it made a big bar to the downside over here. That was the first kind of red flag, because now it's testing this range. It hasn't gone into this range, but it's testing this range and this zone over here. So we're going to be on high alert. Still could be an ABC correction. Don't need to overly concern ourselves. Could do a follow-up to the follow-through on the upside. But as the price data unfolds, we can see a really deep correction, and then it goes into this range over here. This indicates to us weakness and that the correction is not over. And one of the 4 secrets that I cover is all about corrections, learning how to recognize the psychological pattern position of the market. And what we're going to dive into next with XRP is what's very likely to occur next based on what's just happened, because it's representing to us the crowd psychology, fear and greed, and how the crowd is feeling, which is going to dictate more than likely the buying and selling behavior. And that's what we're going to really fine tune. And then the 4 secrets, really the 4 secrets you must know to make money trading the markets. Masterclass, I cover this in a lot of depth. So you almost get a different lens that you can see the market through. And you'll see things that other people just can't see, because it's not intuitive until, everything is difficult before it's easy, but you'll learn this stuff and that'll become second nature. So now what I'm going to do, if you don't mind, is I'm going to kind of zoom back out again. I'm going to bring up all the drawings and tell you the method behind the madness. What are all these lines and what does it reflect? But it was all based on what I just showed you. It was all based on this. Everything changed as soon as this overlap happened. That just said, okay, it's likely we're not going to see the price going above here. If it does, it'll probably be a fake breakout. And we're more than likely going to see a correction to the downside. We have momentum. I'm not going to go into too much detail today, but the daily and weekly momentum is pointing down or practically pointing down. That indicates the upside should be limited. I'm just going to unfold this data as well. Let's just get to today's data now. So we're pretty much live in terms of the data. What looks like is occurring is actually a bit more of it's not that much of a complex correction, but is this now looks like the first leg of a correction. This now looks like the second leg of the correction called a wave B. And we're more than likely at this point over here, there's key indicators over here. If this does unfold like this, we're probably going to get one more move to the downside. Now, the good news is, whether you're a long-term holder of XRP or if you're just trading it, I'll be looking to short the market if it unfolds as anticipated, making money on the way down over here. But then medium to long term, what tends to happen if it does unfold like this is then a continuation to the upside. And the next move can be very, very explosive, but it might take a few weeks to get there. So let's just finish on a bit of detail on this part of the market. Again, the whole basis of what I'm covering here is markets tend to move in 5s and 3s. And you want to be really, really aware of that. But also there's some intricacies within those waves. So what I want to emphasize here is wave C's, which is this yellow part here that we're going to refer to, this yellow wave C, tends to break down to 5 waves. And in the red, I've broken it down. It looks like it's broken down to a 1, 2, a nice impulsive 3, an ABC in blue of a 4. That's quite typical. And then what normally occurs, more often than not, is one more leg to the upside. And there's a lot of indication saying that we're probably going to see XRP going to 51 to 53 cents. But don't be fooled. And it might overextend, but it's likely that we're then going to see a trend reversal with one more leg to the downside. Is there anything else that I want to cover with you? It's just to be on high alert. So if you're in good profit, so we entered the trade on XRP down here. We made some really good profits and over here and over here. Just to make sure you're risk-free. One of the key things to do with trading or whatever you're doing in terms of buying and holding is risk management and capital preservation. So if you are in great profits and the market does get to here, just at least get risk-free. So if it does turn to the downside, that you're protected to the downside because it could continue. But the odds favor a continuation to the downside to finish off a larger degree correction. So if you like today's content, like, subscribe, hit the bell notification. Let me know how you found today's content. Check out my masterclass. I've actually just updated it, to be totally honest. I updated it the other day. So if you've seen the old version, the new version just goes into more depth because I want to make sure that you're really understanding the 4 secrets that you must know to make money trading the markets. It's very easy once you know how, but it does take a bit of practice, and I've just simplified it into layman's terms in the masterclass itself. Let's finish with a quote. I think it's really relevant because it's about capital preservation right now. If you're in good profits with XRP, is you have to use something called double think, right? It's like a paradox. You're thinking that you're going to be correct and wrong at the same time. So just look at what's the 2 alternatives to the market. It could shoot up to the upside, but it could also do a trend reversal to the downside and make sure you're risk-free. So this chapter 2, I'm going to read a quote from my chapter book, from my book. It's Warren Buffett. He says, rule number 1, never lose money. Rule number 2, never forget. Rule number 1. Now look, taking a loss, it's just part and part of doing business and trading, but you can minimize your losses with good risk management and capital preservation. So there you have it. XRP, what do you think? My take, just from a technical standpoint, the fundamentals are baked into the price. I'm ignoring the news, just looking at the buying and selling behavior. Is likely we can get one more leg to the upside, 51, 53 cents thereabouts, and then be on a high alert that we may see a movement to the downside, testing the 40-cent range, and then another trend reversal to make not all-time new highs, not immediately, but local highs compared to what's recently happened. There you have it, XRP. Check it out, and let's keep a close eye on how it unfolds.